Okay, good morning, everybody. We are going to turn to 1023 and sing Building Bridges Together.
Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Good morning. I'm Richard Steele, today's lay leader, and I welcome all to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, including those who are with us in person in the sanctuary this morning, remote attendees who have connected via our streaming feed to watch the service, and those who are using Zoom to participate interactively from locations around North America and elsewhere in the world. We are glad that each of you is here. And I want to take a moment to make a couple of announcements affecting the order of service. One is that there will not be today a children's chapel. So what we're going to do instead, because the Director of Religious Education, Stephanie Gronholz, is out of town and was unable to find somebody to conduct children's chapel. So if there are children in the sanctuary now who, after the Story for All Ages, want to go out and to the nursery for supervised play, then their parents can escort them out at that time. Otherwise, they can stay in the sanctuary and listen to a very interesting presentation today. And the second thing that I wanted to mention is that at 12:30 in the chapel, there will be a Coming Together During Challenging Times meeting. And this is an in-person support group which is forming up, and it's sponsored by the pastoral care team, looking at ways that we can connect with one another to get through challenging times together. So today we have a guest speaker, Dr. Larry Luton, Professor Emeritus of Public Administration at Eastern Washington University. As a professor, Dr. Luton has published many articles and presented widely on climate change. From 2007 to 2009, he served on the City of Spokane's first Sustainability Task Force. It created Spokane's 2009 Sustainability Action Plan. All of these things have a very interesting history that Dr. Luton is going to be going into. Since retiring from Eastern in 2014, he's done volunteer work related to climate change. He joined 350 Spokane, an important group in this domain. In 2017, has served as a co-chair and is currently on its board. He was among the first to join the Sustainability Action Subcommittee that was set up by the City of Spokane, which then created in 2001 our Sustainability Action Plan. And from 2022 to 24, he served as the chair of the steering committee for that subcommittee and has recently been appointed to the City of Spokane's Climate Resilience and Sustainability Board. So there's actually quite a lot going on that's of interest in this domain. I think you'll find it interesting to learn about it. His talk today discusses climate change in Spokane, characterizing where we are in our work on climate change mitigation, adaptation, sustainability and resilience, and what is next. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Dr. Larry Luton. Whether you are in our sanctuary or watching from afar today, it is here that we join to create a nourishing religious home with a mission to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in the wider world, or, as we say more concisely, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. Okay. Now, please take a few moments to greet one another. We turn now from our informal greetings to formally begin our service by lighting our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, of our unity and solidarity, of our openness and inclusion, of our community and individuality. May this small flame be an offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need. And may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt where it has been found. For our opening reflection, I want to situate the comments of today's speaker in the context of events playing out in California. There, we've watched as huge firestorms rage up mountain canyons and through residential neighborhoods alike, driven by hot Santa Ana winds that gust up to 100 miles per hour, spreading glowing embers far and wide and copiously. New fires erupt wherever such embers encounter dry brush or other combustibles, which is practically everywhere. Or following lightning strikes, which become more frequent when weather becomes hot and dry. Or whenever wind whiplash induces sparking around electrical transformers or transmission lines, those having been vulnerably mounted on tall poles decades ago when today's extreme conditions were unimaginable. Be clear about what we are seeing. This is the first glimpse of the world from the far side of the tipping point, at least with regards to climate or fire management, where measures that were previously effective show their limitations. As climate scientist Daniel Swain says in the latest New Yorker, speaking of the devastation in Los Angeles, I don't see this as a failure of firefighting. I see it as a tragic lesson in the limits of what firefighting can achieve under conditions that are this extreme. So, California. Today, our speaker will discuss such issues in the context of Spokane and environs.
Okay. We're going to be singing We'll Build a Land, 121.
Captives go free, where the oil of
Each time we gather as a congregation, there are always those who are with us in our hearts and minds, and whom we want to wrap in our love and care. We light a candle for them this morning. We light a candle for all those who have lost so much in California, for the people of Ukraine who are fighting and dying to protect their homeland against the Russian war of aggression. And we mourn all the innocent victims of violence in the Mideast, whether in the Gaza Strip, across the West Bank, in the Israeli state, or in Lebanon, or in other countries beyond. Let us share a moment of silence, embracing others who are here in our hearts. You are welcome to say their names aloud. Those named aloud and those remembered in the silence, we hold in our community of compassion. We now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which sustains this community and its mission to the larger world.
Oh, misty eye of the mountain below, keep careful watch of my brother's souls. And should the sky be filled with fire and smoke, keep watching over the sun. This is to end in fire, then we should all burn together. Watch the flames climb high in the night, calling out, Father, oh, stand by and we will watch the flames burn, all burn on that mountainside. Should die tonight, then we should all die together. Raise a glass of wine for the last time, calling out, Father, oh, prepare as we will watch the flames burn, all burn on that mountainside. Desolation comes upon the sky. Now I see fire inside the mountain, and I see fire burning the trees, and I see fire hollowing souls, and I see fire, blood in the breeze, and I hope that you remember me. close to the flame, calling out, Father, oh, hold fast and we will watch the flames burn on that mountainside. Desolation comes upon the sky. Now I see fire inside the mountain, and I see fire burning the trees, and I see fire hollowing souls, and I see fire, blood in the breeze. But I hope that you remember me. And if the night is burning, I will cover my eyes. For if the dark returns, then my brothers will die. And as the sky is falling down, it crashed into this lonely town. And with that shadow upon the ground, I hear my people screaming out. Now I see fire inside the mountains, and I see fire burning the trees, and I see fires hollowing souls, and I see fire, ooh, blood in the breeze, and I see fire. Oh, you know I see the city burning, and I see fire, feel the heat upon my skin. Well, I see fire, it's hollowing souls, and I see fire, blood in the breeze. And I hope that you remember me.
Thank you, Rachel, for your beautiful performance of this kind of sad song. And this is our time for all ages, or sorry, stories for all ages. And I see some kids here. You may stay where you are. And today, I didn't find anything funny for you, sorry. But I would like to tell you that this is something that might happen to you. I mean, you have your favorite things and you lost them, right? It happens, yeah. But time changes, we lose things, we lose friends. It's inevitable. The story I have found is about the European writer. His name was Kafka, Franz Kafka. He lived in Prague, Czechoslovakia. And he often traveled to Germany. And this story says how he made friends with a little girl. So during one of the visits to Germany, the writer liked to walk through the parks in Berlin. One day, he saw a little girl sitting on a bench and crying bitterly. Kafka stopped and asked the girl what was wrong. It appeared she had lost her favorite doll in the park. "Please don't cry. Let's look for your doll together," said the man. And they both searched for the doll unsuccessfully, until the girl got tired. "Why don't we meet here tomorrow and look for your doll again?" suggested the writer. The next day, the man and the girl walked in the park looking for the doll, but they could not find it anywhere. They went back to their meeting place, and there, unexpectedly, they discovered a small piece of paper attached to the bench. "Look," said the writer, "it is a note from your doll. Let me read it for you." Here, what the doll wrote. "My dear girl, I know you miss me terribly, but don't cry. I took a trip to see the world, and I promised to write to you about my adventures." Sometime later, the writer had to leave Berlin to go back home to Prague, and meanwhile, the girl received letters from her doll with descriptions of the people and places the doll met during traveling. Time passed, and the writer was going to visit Germany again. He sent a letter to the girl saying that he had a present for her and would like to meet her in Berlin. When the writer and the girl met, the man handed a box to the girl with the words, "Here is your lost doll." The girl opened the box and, "Oh, it does not look like my doll at all," she said with disappointment. "Of course," said the writer. "Time changes things, life changes people, travels changed your doll." Years passed, and the little girl became a grown-up woman. She no longer received letters from the doll, and she was going to move to another place, and while packing her suitcase, she was feeling quite sad, looking at the things she had to leave behind, including her box with that doll. The girl lifted the doll, or the woman lifted the doll from the box and found a folded piece of paper on its bottom. There was a note signed by, guess whom, the doll? By the writer himself. Here's what it said. "Some things you love will probably be lost, but in the end, love will return in another way. Embrace the change. It's important for our growth." So everybody stays here, nobody is going to chapel. I mean, the children have, so no.
As we prepare for meditation, I invite you to find a comfortable position, relax, breathe deeply, and reflect on these words from Amanda Ripley, American journalist and best-selling author. Resilience is a precious skill. People who have it tend also to have three underlying advantages: a belief that they can influence life's events, a tendency to find meaningful purpose in life's turmoil, and a conviction that they can learn from both positive and negative experiences.
Wonderful. Wow. My name is Larry Luton, and I want to thank you for inviting me to speak about climate change today, inviting me back to the Unitarian Church. I used to be a regular attendee at this church, and I had forgotten until this morning. The first service reminded me of this, that this is such a nice way to spend a Sunday morning. So thank you. Another note, a couple weeks ago I had the flu, and it hangs around in my throat, so if I catch up on occasion or cough, hopefully not into the microphone, I want you to be assured I'm not contagious. I don't have the flu anymore, and I'll get through this. So thank you for that understanding. I also want to thank Richard for his note on resilience, because it fits very well with the theme of my talk today. If you're engaged in climate action, you have to be resilient. If you're engaged in any kind of environmental work, resilience is important, because all it takes is a little bit of a step back, and it's a long time to recover from it. But we have to stay at it. I've been thinking about how the context of the Trump takeover changes what I originally planned to present to you last October. You may not remember that I was invited in October. I didn't make it. I'm sorry about that. Trump takeover highlights the need for hope, and I distinguish that from optimism. Optimism is kind of a probability game in my mind. And I'm not going to say the probabilities are with us, but we keep working as long as we have hope that what we do can make a difference. I think we also keep working because we have an obligation to. I mean, you think about people who are losing their island homes because of climate change. You think about the people of Los Angeles who've lost their homes because of climate change. Just because you and I haven't suffered that yet, maybe you did in the Great Fire, I don't know. But we can't sit still and let this happen. Even if we fail, we have to try. It also brings to the fore the need for collective action. A lot of people will talk to you about what you can do as an individual, and I'll have a final note on that as well. But for me, collective action is really important in order to get things done. So I want to start with a quote from Katharine Hayhoe. Dr. Hayhoe is a Canadian, a climate scientist. She's now at Texas Tech University. She's also the chief scientist at the Nature Conservancy. And she says, action is our antidote to despair. And while we can't tackle these challenges alone, we can make change happen together. Personally, I have no time for people who are skeptical of climate science. The scientists may not have hit a bullseye on all of their predictions. A lot of that's because they had no idea what we were going to do, how slow we would be to act, how quickly some of the physical changes would take place. But basically, I'm going to say the climate scientists got it right. Let's look at a few major points about that. The scientists predicted temperatures will rise. 2024 was the warmest year on record on the planet. It was the first time we exceeded, for the average for the year, 1.5 degrees centigrade above the pre-industrial level, a target the Paris Climate Accords set for us, trying to keep it under that many years ago. By the way, 2023 was the record before 2024. Temperatures have risen. Sea levels will rise. 2022, sea levels generally around the planet, and it varies depending on where you are, 4 inches higher than 1993. They said the oceans would be warmer. Again, 2024, warmest ever recorded on the ocean. Scientists are really shocked by that development, how high it is and how quickly it has happened. They said we would have more and more severe, more damaging hurricanes. Boy, have we ever. The hurricanes are now 3 times more likely to intensify at a very rapid pace. Last year we had 5 Category 5 hurricanes. That's as high as it gets. They talked about creating a Category 6. Yeah, once it's gotten to 5, you know this is bad. They also have now a tendency to hang over land for a while and dump a lot of rain. You saw maybe what happened in western North Carolina, where I lived before I moved to Spokane. Asheville, North Carolina had been identified as a place that was a climate change haven. Surprise, there is no haven. Wildfires. Between 1980 and 2023, we've had 22 $1 billion wildfires, 18 of them since 2000. We've already mentioned the LA fires. We had fires here a couple years ago. This is serious. So we humans need to take action. At the federal level, Trump makes this a bit of a dubious proposition right now. Fortunately, in Washington state, there are still possibilities for action, both at the state level and at the local level. And today I'm going to focus on what has been happening, what is happening, and what you can do in local Spokane climate action. I was part of the task force, as Richard mentioned, that created our first Sustainability Action Plan in 2009. Mayor Werner, you may recall, pulled together the task force and asked us to create that. It wasn't the best one I've ever seen, but it was a start. It took, the City Council's first response to that was, "Thank you for your work, we'll accept it," which sounded to me like it's going on the shelf and we are never going to look at it again. It took 7 or 8 years before the City Council went back and said, we're going to use this as a framework for our action on sustainability. 2018, the City Council said, we need to up our game. We're going to create the Sustainability Action Committee. It will help to guide our work on climate action. Mayor Condon vetoed the bill. The City Council passed the bill again over his veto. And then Mayor Condon said, see if you can make me. I just won't do anything. He never appointed anybody. And the process is mayor nominates, City Council appoints. He just never gave any names. Neither did Mayor Woodward. So it was never implemented. City Council's response was to say, well, let's do a workaround. Let's create the Sustainability Action Subcommittee. It would be a subcommittee of one of their standing committees. It was a brilliant move by Brian Beggs. Sustainability, they also appointed a Sustainability Initiatives Manager. Karen Odegaard is someone this community owes a great debt to. If it weren't for her, we would never have the 2021 Sustainability Action Plan, which is our current plan. She oversaw 40 people, over 40 people, in 7 work groups. This is beyond the normal span of control. This is a lot of work, you know. And so in 2021, we put out the new Sustainability Action Plan. It's much better. It has over 200 actions recommended in it. And the City Council adopted it as a framework for climate change, mitigation, adaptation, and energy security actions for the City of Spokane. In 2022, after we had gotten the plan out, we saw, okay, there are 200 recommendations in here. We need to focus things down a bit. You give 200 ideas to City Council, they have no idea where to go. So we added a steering committee to the Sustainability Action Subcommittee. I was the chair of that committee. And we went through the plan and with the help of the work groups, identified a series of steps more like, I was hoping it would be like 6, but it ended up being more like 12, that we were ready to forward to the City Council to get things moving. That work ended up getting kind of replaced by the election of Mayor Lisa Brown, who formed a transition committee, part of which was aimed at what do we do about sustainability and climate. I was part of that group. We recommended 2 things. One was that we need to revisit that Sustainability Action Committee. We now have a mayor who would sign the ordinance. And we renamed it the Climate Resilience and Sustainability Board. It has 15 members. Well, we'll have, right now it's 13. And it has 2 jobs. One is to revise our Sustainability Action Plan and give advice to the city on where to move forward on that. But before we get back to that work, because the state of Washington passed a law requiring the city and the county to create a climate element in their comprehensive plan, that's our first job, is to be the advisory committee on the new comprehensive plan, which is due June of 2026. That's why it has to come first. We have a deadline to meet. The climate element is, our work on that is guided, advised by the Washington State of Commerce, Department of Commerce. That has put out a guidance that tells us what we need to include in that climate element. And as I mentioned, both the city and the county are under this same deadline of June 2026. And the climate element has to include a standard approach to a state standard approach to measuring our greenhouse gas reduction. To my mind, that's what we have to keep our eye on. That's keep your eye on the ball. Greenhouse gas reduction is the name of the game. It also requires an element for resilience, helping communities to get prepared for natural hazards. We're still working on which natural hazards we're most vulnerable to. We know that we have fires. We have smoke even when we don't have fires, you know. We have drought, which at first I don't think was understood enough as to what the impact of that would be. We have changing rain patterns, rain and snow. And so we get to the end of summer and the snowpack was used up a long time ago and things are really dry. Let's see, what was it? They also have a third element, third aspect of the work that they require, which is a focus on environmental justice as a priority. A lot of people have, for a long time, thought about climate change as kind of a technical thing. We have to fix this problem of greenhouse gases. But if we're trying not just to avoid a problem, but to create a better world. And in order to create a better world, if we allow the next society, community that we develop to continue the racial and economic injustices that we have today, we've blown it. We have to make sure that the land use doesn't worsen health disparities. Think about Interstate 90 and what it did to East Central community and the air pollution that that causes for the remaining community. So things like that. So there's some good plans, but plans are not enough. We have to take action. We have to do things. Not just put it on paper, not just talk about it. Although talking about climate action is one of the things I love to do, and it is required for collective action. That's the way humans work with each other. We talk to each other and get things done. Legislation is words. It's a kind of talk. I mean, this is how we get it done. But we want action. In recent years in Spokane, we've had a huge increase in the installation of solar panels. I happen to know the statistics on that. I won't cite them to you today, but we were trying to encourage solar panel installation as part of the Sustainability Action Plan, and it's happening. We have a number of community gardens for producing more of our food in the area. If you don't have a yard where you can garden yourself, I had to move mine to the front yard to find some sun. Community gardens, very helpful. The Spokane Transit Authority has a number of electric buses now. You may have seen the news. Now we got double-decker electric buses. Those, but the Spokane, their city line is a major step forward in the way we should be doing transit in the city. And the next plan, big plan they have for that, it's not just the city line that has electric buses. You'll see them in various locations around town. But the next big focus target is going to be on Division Street. We also have a bike priority network, and more recently, a plan that the City Council just adopted on 27 by 27. 27 additional miles of safe bicycling paths by 2027. It's a good move. We also have a transit-oriented development pilot program going in the South Logan neighborhood. And the next one that they're working on, again, is Long Division. If you look at the city parks, instead of the parts that look kind of like the best part of a golf course, we have natural areas that the parks are adding to their landscapes. Less water use, more natural habitat. They're using hybrid mowers. They have reduced their pesticide use. They have automated watering systems now. It was so embarrassing when they told the rest of the city, do not water your lawns between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And the parks were out there watering all day because the employees didn't want to work midnight. They want to work during the day. So now we've automated. We also have city watering rules and drought response. The 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Level 1, 4 days watering a week. When we reach level 2, it's because the indicator is the river has gotten so low that it's less than 1,000 cubic feet per second. And so then we need to go down to 2 days a week. We also have the Spokane Lawn Replacement Program, which helps us to reduce our water use, Spokanescape. You can get $500 to help put together your plan. It's going to cost more than that probably, but you can get some help, not only the money, but assistance from experts in the area to design it and put it together. And you might wonder, what's water use got to do with climate change other than it's giving us less water at the end of the summer? One of the major contributors to greenhouse gas emissions in the city of Spokane, other than the solid waste system, is moving water around. We pump it to all, so you can get it in your house. And that's a lot of greenhouse gas emissions that happen from that. We also have the urban tree canopy program that the city is doing with a lot of help from the Lands Council. We have eliminated parking requirements for all housing within 1/2 mile of a transit stop. We need to encourage people to develop a lifestyle that doesn't depend so much on cars. We also, as part of that, have increased density allowances in residential zoning code. You can have up to 6 units virtually all over the city. And Spokane Transit Authority started a youth-free ride in the summer. It's now year-round, so that young people can get accustomed to using the transit system rather than depending on an automobile. I should also mention Brian would be unhappy with me if I didn't. Brian Henning runs the Gonzaga Climate Center. They have 3 major developments going there and lots of others that I can't get into, but they have a climate literacy project for K-12 educators and students. They have a climate resilience project, part of which was their heat mapping citizen science program here in Spokane a couple years ago. They sent people out in cars and we measured the temperature in the city. And one of the things we found out is that you can be in one place in the city, which is basically like concrete and a few trees, and another place in the city, most likely here on the South Hill, 13 degrees difference in the temperature. So they're working on resilience hubs at the Climate Center. And they have a $20 million community change grant to develop that is intended to include a lot of smaller nonprofit organizations in the community doing their own specific angle on this work. So I hope at this point you are asking, what can I do? You can support the climate action at the legislature and the city council. 350 Spokane has an email blast every other week now, every week at the second half of the legislative session, that will tell you what bills we think are important for you to support. And we'll make a link really easily available to you to tell the legislators how you think they should vote on this. 350 Washington, which 350 Spokane is part of, has one now that's doing that 2 days a week. They're a civic action team. So you can get advice as to what to tell your legislators twice a week from 350 Washington. You could join or contribute to climate action organizations. The Climate Center is hard to join, but boy, they like contributions. 350 Spokane is an all-volunteer organization. We don't like a lot of money. We focus on action. We don't need a lot of money. We're doing fine. If you want to contribute, we love it. We can always do more. But more important to us would be help us take action. Help us direct the legislature and the city as to what they should be doing. You can talk to your family, your friends, book clubs. You can write letters to the editor once a month. It's easy. They publish almost all of them. What can you do that's more private if you're not inclined to collective action? You can take personal climate action. You can electrify. You can get an electric vehicle. You can electrify your home in a couple of significant ways. Heat pumps do work in this area for your house, for heating your house. Reduces natural gas use. Natural gas is a major contributor to greenhouse gas pollution. 80 times the strength of carbon dioxide. So heat pumps for the house, or maybe your water heater. At least electrify your water heater. Yard equipment. It's easy. Don't get a new gasoline mower. Use either a battery or a corded one. I have an old corded one I've been using for years. You have to change how you mow the lawn so you don't run over the cord. But once you've made the adjustment, you're okay. You can take multimodal transportation. You can, multimodal, fancy word. You can walk, bike, skateboard if you want to, roll. I only do that in better weather. I know some people who do it all year round, even here in Spokane. Electric bikes and big fat tires have made that possible. Still seems too cold to me, but go for it. You could also simply take the bus, one day a week instead of driving your car. That makes a big, much bigger than you'd think, contribution. It's even better than reducing your beef consumption, which is a big one as well. So I want to thank you again for inviting me here today. As you might be able to tell, I love talking about climate action, even though it can be sometimes a difficult thing to think about, but we need to. Thank you.
All right, now let's sing together, This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it
For our benediction, I offer the words of Guy McPherson, Professor Emeritus of Natural Resources, Ecology, and Evolutionary Biology at the University of Arizona. If you really think that the environment is less important than the economy, try holding your breath while you count your money. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.